When I first found out I was pregnant, I had completely panicked. I felt alone. I thought there's no way the man I was with could help me take care of that baby. And that's the worst thought, that came first. But it did, because that was the most important thing I was thinking about, is whether or not I could take care of a baby. My fear was loneliness, like people turning on me and judging me for my situation instead of being there. So that was the biggest thing was, you know, I wouldn't mind having the baby. I know the baby would love me, but what about everybody else? Would they love the baby? Not just me. And so that was a big fear. I thought abortion was the best option. And this is the thing, as a Christian, I never believed in that, So for me to feel like I needed to do that was awful enough at first. So I thought there's no way that I could have a child with this person. That was the reason. Me and my mom are driving towards Planned Parenthood. I'm already feeling like I'm really going through it because I'm losing more and more support as time went on from the father, emotional support. And we're not even in the building yet. We pull into the parking lot and there are people with signs, saying we're murderers and how could we do this? And, oh, you can get help. And so me and my mom ignore the people doing that, walk in, and everybody was so passé in the room about getting it done. They were like, okay, you stand there, you go into this room. And they were just very direct, get it over with kind of attitude. And they were just doing their job. That's how they thought of it. But for me, it was not very comforting, not very emotional, like, oh, I'm so sorry you're going through this, nothing like that. They were very straightforward and blunt. It's a 2-pill process. You take the first pill, then you take the second one. And, they went into detail scientifically about what I needed to do with the pill, what the pill's going to do to the baby. All I could think about was, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? So we go into the room to do the ultrasound, and I'm thinking, oh, there's probably hardly anything there. I was praying I was only a couple weeks at least. And I find out, and I warned the man I was with, if I find out it's later than it is, I'm not doing it. And next thing you know, I find out I was 10 weeks pregnant. And there, I couldn't do it. I saw the picture. It was a full body. It was only, this big, but he was there curled up in full form. And I said, there's no way. And I was staring at it in shock. And it's funny, my mind changed though. It went from, I'm not doing this, I'm getting rid of the baby, there's no way I can have a baby with him, to he's there, I said, there's gotta be something I can do. And so I ended up taking the first pill anyway, because I went through the text and I could tell the man that was supposed to support me and be there was blowing me off. And I was already feeling it, and I thought, this is it. There's no way I'm going to have any support from him. I'm not doing this alone. I took that first pill and I thought it was over. I was like, oh, I can get through this somehow. I just got to go through trauma counseling. I was just ready to grieve it already. I thought, I can have kids again one day. I was trying to comfort myself, but in the back of my head, I had no love or respect for myself in that moment. It was a journey all the way from going back in the car after I took that first pill for the abortion. Those people were still standing there, yelling with a microphone at me. This lady was yelling and took the microphone and said, we can help you. She mentioned I could still change it. And I didn't understand what she was saying. She said, you can still get help. There are places you can get help. There's still a chance to save the baby. And I didn't understand what she was trying to say to me. I get home. I'm not sleeping. The entire night I wasn't sleeping. All I could think about was, I could have changed this. I could have kept the baby somehow. Maybe I could have figured this out. And I found a website, and it was called Healing Hands. And it was to mourn after an abortion, to help women mourn what they had gone through and what they had lost. And I thought, well, that's nice. Maybe I could just start right now. I wanted to start healing right this second. And I saw there was a phone number. I ended up talking to her on the phone, and this lady, she was comforting me, and I ended up taking the first pill, and she said, "Did you take the second one?" And I said, "Well, no." She said, "Oh my God, you didn't take the second one." And she started freaking out. And so we went through a 2-hour phone call she was telling me her story, this lady on the phone, how she still mourned her abortion after 30 years. She said, "Oh my gosh, have you heard of the reversal pill?" And that's when I heard about you guys and how I could come here and get all the support and help I need. And
we got the call over Thanksgiving that we had an APR patient, which is a little bit different in that we're working against the clock to save a life. So we met with her Monday and we're able to sit down with her. I was able to kind of walk through her situation, find out her story, and then go into kind of how we can walk alongside and help her.
I got so excited. I said, "Oh, there's this reversal pill I can take." And I was thinking, how do I get the pill? Where do I get this magical pill they're talking about? And I decided whether or not I was going to tell the father. That was a big decision that came next. I thought maybe he could be there and maybe he'll do better at his bad habits. And I ended up telling him. It was about 11:30. I was getting ready to go to the CVS down the street to get this pill. He did not become supportive of the decision at all. He immediately freaked out on me. He did a complete 180. To go ahead and do that, you'd rather leave. Take that cowardice route. Once we got off the phone, I started to realize more and more I was making the right decision to completely keep him out of my baby's life forever. And so I went to CVS and I was very happy. I actually felt very happy in the moment. Now the concern was, is the baby still going to be okay?
So it was really important that we get in with that ultrasound and see whether or not there was a heartbeat. We were all real nervous as to whether or not we were going to see a heartbeat. But we had created a bond that no matter what happened, we were going to walk through it with her.
When I first went into the ultrasound room, I realized how supportive and nice everyone at the Lynchburg Pregnancy Center was, and that was a huge relief. I thought, oh good, some nice people for a change, especially after Planned Parenthood. I'm panicking and so excited at the same time until we get in that ultrasound room and I start to realize that I'm going to be able to see him, and my heart starts to feel lighter. When I first saw the baby, all I could do was burst into tears. Everybody was oohing and awing at the baby and how active he was. Just already a personality. And it was this tiny little bulb of happiness, just little circles moving around. He just kept dancing around in there, and just the personality was so big. It was just, I knew right then and there he was going to become my whole world.
I literally just put the ultrasound transducer on her tummy, and it just landed right on that little baby wiggling and that little heart beating, and we pretty much all started tearing up, and it was just such a joyful moment. And just how can we help you with your pregnancy?
I just knew it was like somebody was standing there behind me saying, "You're gonna be a great mom and he's gonna be a great baby." It still makes me cry now because I had no idea he was gonna turn out this beautiful. And even at that time, I was already in tears just looking at an ultrasound. Any woman or anyone who knows somebody going through the situation I went through with my unwanted pregnancy, I would tell all these women out there, first thing I would tell them is resources. Because that was the first thing that made me feel the abortion. The emotional part was the finances. I'd tell them, go to the pregnancy centers. They have resources there you can find out. And I became so confident and resourceful because of those things. So that's the first thing I tell them. There's help here, there's help here, there's help here.
I was able to share some of our resources with her and just see the strength that she has as somebody who had changed her mind about the life of her baby. Mariah came to us for the APR protocol, but because she lived in Roanoke and ended up getting housing in Bedford, she ended up taking advantage of the services at the Bedford Pregnancy Center. And we were able to attend her baby shower, which was a blessing for us to see the culmination of 2 pregnancy centers being able to pour into her pregnancy decision and support her in that.
It felt like a very powerful decision I made. Once I decided to have the baby, I felt powerful. I felt like I could be that mastermind mom who could just figure it all out. And I just had to become really resourceful. And from that point on, I realized that there were places. I lived in a maternity home for a while, got myself together with my baby, and from that point on, I went from not knowing what to do to now I'm gonna open an in-home daycare. We're gonna create a digital project together, me and David here, on how to take care of a baby, a newborn. So I'd love to help moms and teach other moms how to be resourceful. And so from today on, that's what happens when you choose to have family. I thought I saved him, but he saved me.